Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome to something completely, totally random. That's right, a video from me. No, I'm going to play some Timber and Stone. This is a game I backed on Kickstarter at the end of last year, which has finally been released to me as far as, well, as far as a playable version is concerned. It's still in development, but it's a very interesting and very different game. It's got me slightly addicted at the moment. I'm just trying to decide where to settle up. Thinking somewhere up here at the top of this hill. Let's go for here. So, here we are. So, we have now got ourselves our starting campsite, and that brings with it an introduction to these characters. So we have an archer, a farmer, a forager, a wood chopper, a stonemason, and a builder. And as far as resources go, it's more about food, carrot seeds, pumpkin seeds, and turnip seeds. That's what we want. So we've got plenty of seeds to get us going for food. Wheat seeds are a problem. We may need to get ourselves some wheat seeds from a trader as soon as possible. 2 hammers. You want to build one of those for our for our foraging personnel. Right. Okay. So let's just quickly get a few things started off, so we can get our guys working. We've got a few things to start off. Right. Okay. So we have a whole managed amount of resources to manage. It's time to give our personnel something to do. So we need to start by, giving our wood chopper some trees to chop. So he's off to get some wood. In order for food, for now, we'll give him the hunting knife. And what's we got in the vicinity? So we should have a nice amount of chickens and some sheep and some boar if they exist. Also some berries on trees. So we really need to get ourselves kitted out, because once we start to gather food, that starts to trigger the enemies to spawn on the map. Now, when we're dealing with goblins and all sorts of things along those lines, that will cause us a few problems when it comes to dealing with or trying to protect ourselves. So we'll send him off to go and start gathering some food, and then we'll set to work our farmer. So let's set up a plot of land for farming. Now we do have access to water, so we can, when we have some more time, deal with some fishing. We're have to sacrifice. I think we have to sacrifice our stonemason, because although he already has quite good stats for mining. So let's put him to work. Put the mine just here for now. So he'll start by digging all that out for us. So resource management is key to get us all going, because we need to be dealing with it or getting ourselves sorted out when it comes to getting set up. Oh. So we'll stick, because we need to defend ourselves, we'll stick with our back to the beach. I think that's probably our best plan as far as we are concerned. Let's go for corn to start with. So let's put our farm down at the beachfront. Although let's call it a lake. That way it's not obviously salt water that's going to cause us problems. I think I had 6 seeds. So we'll start with pumpkins and corn. That'll give us plenty of food. So off he goes. Our archer, we need to give him our bow. We got any armor for him? Nope. So we'll leave him for now to protect if we need to. Now builder. So what are we in short supply of? What are we going to be in short supply of? So we have a list of resources we need to manage. and obviously we can use all of these resources to build more and more things. But when it comes to what we are building and how we are going to build it, that's where the interest will kick in, because that's all to do with deciding what we are or how we're going to defend ourselves. So our miner will find us our ores, which will then be converted to more and more impressive weapons. And each of our personnel has a rank. So our builder at the moment is currently level 2. It'd actually be better as a stonemason or a forager. But it means that the higher they are, the more effective they are. So every time you do anything, there's always a chance that it will go wrong, or there's always a chance that it will break. So for now, we do need to start having a look at. Let's have a look at the carpentry bench. Plenty of stone, plenty of wood for this. And we have the autosave. Always kicks in at exactly the point you want it to. So we haven't got a home base just yet, but we'll start near here, near the fire, and that will give the carpenter something to do. Now, annoyingly, I will have to change you. Now, changing a person's profession is not an ideal way of doing things, because it reduces their morale. Now, currently, because this is only an early version, that has no effect, so it doesn't really matter. But the least or less often that you can do that, the better, because you don't want to be irritating your personnel. I want to make sure that we have an abundance of the key tools that we are going to need, so that if we start getting into trouble, we have them in place. So what I mean by this is, they do break at random, and they will wear out at random. But the problem with that is, if you run out of the right resources to build the tools that you need, then that's a game over situation. So if I, for example, used all my wood, and then my last axe broke, I don't have an axe to then go and chop wood, so therefore I'm without wood. And although there is a chance that the next time a trader visits, he will bring wood as the thing that he's selling, it's very unlikely. So it pretty much puts you in game over, because if you can't farm, you can't build, you can't chop because you haven't got any wood, you can't build any more tools, then you're going to get yourself into trouble. So he's already racing through those, so we'll put him to chop these trees along here as well. We can permanently remove trees if we need to when we are starting to build our settlement, but for now we are quite happy with him just to wander around and collect some wood. I don't really know what else I need to do. Where's my forager man gone? I'm pretty safe for the first few days, so I kind of want to get myself up in, or set up in the world. So let's have a look at what we can get you to build. Can you build planks? Yeah, so you can take some planks. We've got 10 wooden logs. Planks is obviously good for flooring. What do we need? Stonemason, 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 carpenter. Shingles, that's going to be roofing materials. Yeah, nice roof. I think carpenter builds fences as well. We do really want to try and get ourselves cordoned off, because once the enemies do start arriving, although they don't target us in the sense that they just wander around the map sort of aimlessly, and if they bump into our personnel they will attack, they are very devastating at this early stage. There is, if you're not an archer or an infantry person and you meet an enemy, you will die. It's almost as simple as that, because of the strength that the enemy currently have. So we'll build some planks. So go for 10 of those. I'll give us 20 planks. And then you're currently doing soddle. You have nothing else to do with you. Alright, okay. So I didn't think that that would be too much of a problem, but apparently you are more than efficient at the job that you are doing. So you can have turnips as well. You're mining away. You're protecting. You good at anything else? So these are all the classes that our people can be. So blacksmith is very important once we've got more resources, and so that we can get our specialist tools built. Builders will be in charge of, obviously, as you can probably imagine, building. I'm interested in using fishermen. On my previous save when I was playing it for the first time over the weekend, I didn't have any water on my map, so I couldn't use a fisherman, so that'll be interesting to see how effective they are at catching food. Herders, you can send herders out into the world to collect the sheep, and I think it's just the sheep at the moment, and bring them back to like a pen, so you can fence off an area, tell them to go out and collect the sheep, bring them all back, and then you can hold them in that area, and as long as you've got wheat to feed them, they will stay alive, and then you can kill them when you need them. They don't breed or anything currently, there's no ability to expand upon the numbers. They just spawn randomly across the map. But you can herd them together, and then when you need the resources, you can just quickly and easily kill them. Tailor, so building cloth, building rope, that's their main purpose at the moment. Cloth is important for building beds, and the rope is important for building all sorts of contraptions. Now rope would be very important. Phineas Bastion is now a level 2 carpenter. Excellent. So that will keep him getting better and better at his work. Wood chopper, obviously collecting wood. Engineer. Engineer's main purpose is building stuff for your soldiers. So training dummies, archery targets that help your archers level up and help your infantry personnel level up. Forager goes off and collects stuff. Infantry, this is your swords, fighting sword and shields, close combat, heavy armor, those sort of things. They're a good idea, except for at the moment with the game mechanics, the enemies can kill you in one hit. So there's no point in being an infantry person now. You can have all the best armor in the world and the best weapon, and if the goblin or the wolf hits you first, you die. So it doesn't really matter. Stonemason, they build you bricks and your walls and stuff, and then a trader. You need a trader in order to trade with the merchant that arrives. And the higher level of trader you have, I believe the better deal you get for your or for whatever it is that you're going to be trying to purchase. So let's get you digging nice and deep. The only problem is at the moment I can set a build area and I can go up. So I can tell him to dig up, but I can't tell him to go down. So at the moment I have to do it layer by layer. But once he's underground, I can then set long corridors for him to sort of strip mine. It doesn't affect the surface, so it keeps him out of the way. But you just promoted yourself to level 2. So I'd quite like you to now go and build some things. Although do need the masonry bench so that my stonemason can build some stuff. He can only be built by a stonemason and blacksmith. Don't really know what a water barrel's for. I've not seen that used anyway, and that stonemason and the blacksmith. So there's quite a lot that we need to get set up before we can get everything going. So let's convert you to stonemason because you're already quite a high level stonemason. Give you a stone hammer, take it automatically when you break it. And this means we can now take some, or start to build some building materials. So what shall we build our houses out of? So any subtle differences between these? Go for the darker one. So that takes raw stone and dirt, so he's currently collecting that. And then our stonemason, once he's built his furnace and his workbench, will be able to go off and sort all that out. Because we really need to get ourselves ready for the first of the enemies to arrive. So let's sort out some more areas for you to chop, just so that we've got plenty of wood. You're digging. I might convert you to a miner for the short term, so that stone forge needs fuel. We have some coal, so let's use some coal. And off and away he goes. Right, so where are we in the context of what I was doing? So you are not a bad miner. So let's trigger off a second miner. And let's get you busy just while we have nothing else for you to be doing. Oh, you've broken your pickaxe. So that's a good point to put another pickaxe into. Every time we break a pickaxe at this early stage, we want to make sure we've got other ones being made. So let's make 5 of those quickly and urgently. Stone tools are okay. We can make stone tools without the need for the workbench. but when it comes to more high level tools, obviously that's the problem. So let's clear out where we're going to build our first house. So dirt's always a good thing to stockpile initially. We don't really want to be on the lowest level, do we? So where are we going to deal some dirt? So let's clear out some area around the farm, so that way we have a nice clear farmland, and also grab us some dirt. So before you get too keen on that, come over here and dig out some dirt. You're building the bricks. Now, one of the enemies that does exist... Oh, you've died. What's going on here? Oh, you're sleepy. That's something that's interesting to try and manage, is they will sleep when they're tired, as you can imagine. He's currently very tired, so he's fallen asleep. They will sleep, or you can schedule them to sleep. So you could say, you know, when it gets to dusk, have a nice snooze until it was dawn, and then you'll be refreshed during the day. I haven't really worked out how much sleep they need. Oh, there appears to be a dead boar. In order to refresh, but I do know that if you sleep on a... Oh, he's fallen asleep as well. That if you fall asleep on a bed, then they recover much faster. But the problem is with the mechanic as it is at the moment, if you put, let's say we've got 6 guys at the moment, so if we had 5 beds, and we schedule them all to sleep differently, they'd all sleep on the bed, but what they would then do is just stand up next to the bed and go, now what? They don't return back from wherever they've gone to. So we could have, for example, when we've got more people involved, we could have a couple of archers set on our castle wall, or our sort of keep, to keep us all safe from the goblins when they arrive. But if one of them goes to sleep and I don't notice, and another one goes to sleep and I don't notice, they'll all move from wherever the wall was to the bed, sleep, and then when they wake up they'll just stand next to the bed, so they don't go back on to watch. So that has, or could cause me some problems when it comes to keeping track of my personnel and everything that's going on. And if the game turns to night, the problem with the night is it does get very dark, and I haven't got all my lanterns and things set up yet. I can refresh the fire. I won't need that just now because it's still light, but what I'll probably do is stop my first ever video of Timber and Stone at that point and find out I haven't recorded the sound or something and get really frustrated. But other than that fact, I think everything's going fine. My farmer's crops currently kicking in. So how much food have we got at the moment? So 33. The arrival of new personnel and the arrival of additional people is based on your resources and your setting of the hall. So this should be, when I've got it actually sorted out, the centre of the castle. But what we need to do is put a road from the edge of the map. So let's just literally go for this straight path here. Okay, this doesn't work as I thought it to. So straight path there. Invalid road designation. There we go. Invalid road designation. What am I doing wrong? Ah, okay. Can't go up a step. So now that we've got a road into my hall, if I meet any of the criteria for a trader to visit, or if I meet any of the criteria for a new person to arrive, they will walk along the road and into the hall, and then when they get to the hall I'll get a message saying this person has arrived, what do you want to do? So that will help me when it comes to keeping track of everything that's going on with my people. So you're another one. You're happily working away, building me some bricks, which I'm going to use to build my first house. So I don't like having the grass floor because one of the enemies is a spider, and the spiders dig out of the ground, which not helpful at all if you've got nice castle wall and then grass floor and the spider just pops up there and goes, alright, how's it going? Time to eat your face off. But that's the way of the world, unfortunately, when it comes to timber and stone at the moment. You have to be prepared. Now, a lot of people on the Timber and Stone forums, which I will link in the description if you're interested, that people are complaining about the one-hit kills, etc. And that's not a massive problem as far as I'm concerned, because once you've got yourself to a point where you're happy, then the one-hit kills don't really cause any problems, because you can very comfortably and easily protect yourself from everything that's going on if you are paying attention and getting set up. So I don't really see an issue. You're finished. Let's look back over here. You, sir, are causing my hammer collection all sorts of problems. It's starting to get dark now, so I'm expecting people to start falling asleep. So you've been asleep for a while. What's your current fatigue like? So there is a chance that during this first night, the enemies could arrive. So what I want to do is just, so you're my archer, you're also my highest level miner. That's annoying. So I'm going to change your name, Philippe. Where is it? There. To Philippe Archer. So that if I ever get confused about which one is my archer, I can then easily grab you and change you to archer and send you off to protect my personnel. One of the things I do need to do, which I don't think is set by default, is go to the options. Not pause the game on unit death. Yeah, make sure that pause the game when enemies are sighted is turned on, so that when, for example, my forager is off and about, if he spots an enemy unit, the game will pause and it'll tell me, and that way I don't lose my units because they just get wiped out when I'm not paying attention. It's very useful in that sense. So the darkness is kicking in, and so I will, with my units sleeping, I will pause it here as far as the video is concerned. Thank you all for watching, and I will return, or even my wood chopper's fallen asleep. I will return when the morning has arrived, and we'll carry on with my timber and stone let's play. Bye for now, guys.